Hello, I would like to inform you that you're about to listen to a lot of bullshit comments. So you might not agree with them, but that's the way of the world. Everyone has different opinions to you, so please don't cancel any of us. Please, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Roll the weird shit.
That does remind me that you remember the last podcast you were on, Chapman? You were talking about Kievs.
Yes.
I found a Kiev, and I was going to send you a video of it. I still got it on my phone, ready to send it to you. I don't know why I hadn't sent it to you, but I will send it to you.
Do you know what? So many times I've been to Tesco's, I've only found one today.
Are we talking about chicken Kievs?
Yes. In the last podcast,
not the city.
The last episode podcast he was on.
Yeah.
He said he can't find them, and I went, "Are you nuts?" And me and my guest, I think it was Bethan at the time, we both saw one in the shop the next day. We just forgot to send it to you. That's all. So just say you're wrong.
So it's not in Cambridge. It's a Cambridge issue then.
Yes, it's the city you live in. Yes.
That was your choice, whether we agree with that or not.
Hello, everybody. This is the Ed Talks About podcast, a weekly podcast talking about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else. I'm your host, Eddie, and this week we are doing Am I Wrong? Vol.3. That's right. I'm bringing back a feature that no one asked for. Hey! Joining us on the podcast is Shadowheart Cosplay and Chapman of LPC Photography. Welcome to you both. Why is no one joining me?
Did you just say Shadowheart?
Did I say Shadowheart?
Yes, you did.
Shit. Okay, can I just say something?
Yeah.
I have been looking at a lot of cosplay photos. I've just finished like MCM London. It's still fresh in my mind. And I shot two people called Shadowheart. I've already posted a Shadowheart cosplay recently. That's why Shadowheart's not Shadowbright. Clearly, that's who you are.
I was Shadowbright a decade ago before Shadowheart was even a thing.
I know. I am so sorry. This is bad hosting. I could pretend to do this all again, but I'm not. I'm going to admit my mistakes. I'm just going to keep it in. So, yar. I think it's important to own your mistakes. That's all, okay?
Oh, definitely.
Fuck.
Like the time I glued a breastplate together with hot glue.
To be fair, you're not the only ones who like glue things to like body parts and think you'll be fine. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. I've got a friend who does that. That literally super glues, not super glue, hot glue. Sorry, do not hot super glue yourself. That can burn you. Okay. Well, I say that, but also hot glue could also burn you. But at least, yeah, they would just hot glue everything together, and it would last the day. I'm very impressed how they do it. But yeah, anywho, so I'm gonna like pretend that didn't happen. Hey, Shadowbright, how's things with you?
Yeah,
you do not need to talk about that. You can talk about something else.
No, I'm really good. Just into the beginning of the con season, so perpetual con crunch is now a thing until about November. But other than that, I'm good.
You don't have to con crunch. You really don't have to.
Yeah, we always say that, and we always do panels, and then we go, "Oh, don't con crunch; it's not worth it." And then I've been doing this for like over a decade at this point. I still do it. I secretly like thrive on it. So.
Oh no, goodness me. Okay, but oh no, I really don't want to say the last 7 days. I'm going to try to avoid all of that. But generally, you're okay because I did see you at MCM London. I really want to take pictures of your cosplay, but I don't know if you saw me. You were standing. You were standing on the stairs, and I was on the other side of the barriers, and I saw you. And without running, I tried to gun it towards you by going up the ramp, through security, back down. You disappeared.
I'm really sorry. You have to remember that if you ever see me without my glasses, I'm actually just like blind. And they don't make colored contacts in my prescription. So unless you're right in front of my face, I won't see you.
to be fair, I wasn't like waving all that because you were like talking to your husband at the time. You had friends around you, so I knew that was fine. That's fair. So I wasn't gonna like hassle you that way. So yeah, it's all right. No, it's all right. It's all right. Just thought I'd let you know, because I appreciate that. You're at Comic-Con not just to like do a bit of shopping, get some nerdy stuff. You're there to also
This is
like
like
see your
the
friends
first
and have
Comic Con
fun.
where I wasn't really working for the first time in like, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. I was attending.
Oh wow!
Just for a change.
For a change, yeah, it's always good. You can do that as well. Oh man, Chapman, what about you? I haven't seen you at an event. I think the last time I saw you was at AnimeCon London.
Yes. Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, no. MegaCon?
No, it wasn't there. I decided I avoided like that like the plague.
Then yeah, AnimeCon. February.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like that everyone else seems to enjoy MegaCon live events. One day I might. I don't know when I will go back to one, but we'll see. But yeah, I decided to skip this year's Birmingham MCL. I just think the name MegaCon Live is so dumb. Just why call it something so similar to something that's already in the States? Anyway, that's for a different
I mean,
podcast. That's for a
Comic
different-
Con would fall under the same argument, right?
Yeah, just don't. Just anyway, right. Chapman, how's the last 7 days for you? Hang on, before I forget. So, because I forgot, I didn't do this last time you were on the podcast. I assumed you had a job then, but you're still job hunting. One, are you still job hunting?
No, luckily.
Woo! Yay! Oh, thank goodness. I don't feel bad now. Oh. But are you enjoying your new job? Or is that for something we should leave out for another day?
No comment.
Wow, 2 for 2, Ed. Wow, God, you really know how to run a podcast, don't you, Ed?
I know, right? It's funny you haven't asked where I work right now.
Well, because I know where you work. We had a private chat, and I just thought I'm just going to leave that out.
Let's not be doxing anyone on
exactly. I
I
don't want to be like that, so I'm just going to respect your privacy and just leave it like that. Oh goodness me! But my usual question is how's the last 7 days for you, Chapman?
Good question. I mean, Shadowbright knew what happened.
I mean, Shadowbright has kind of been on a different planet the last 7 days.
Got into an incident in a train. Police was involved.
Oh,
That
Jesus
would be the
Christ!
best way to describe
Yeah, me and
it.
Chapman are doing real well this week.
Right, okay. I didn't know about Chapman's, but just to clarify things, just in case those who don't know, both involved the police for both of them. They are victims with the police involving. No, wait, they're both victims and police have been involved. Sounds like it. We'll just leave it at that because, I'm fine. By the way, just if it helps, I'm fine. I'm good and happy.
Have you had any police involvement in your life in the last 7 days?
No,
Come on.
I thought I would be because I will mention that on Friday I had a very late message call from one of my cosplay models that I like to shoot with. It's Purple Muffins. We haven't done a cosplay shoot in years. Actually, I think we did one just after the lockdown was slightly opening up. So she just dropped me a message. She goes, "Oh, I saw you on your private Facebook that you wanted to do a Catwoman shoot, and you said something about wanting someone to do it in latex. Hey, I'm a latex model. I do cosplay. Let's get it done." This is not how she talks, by the way. I'm just filling in the Eddie version of a Purple Muffin. So don't think this is how she talks, all right? So we just went to London, and I was trying to think of this. So big grand scheme of things, how my brain works. I always try to think of places. One, I've not taken a model to either before. Two, a location I've used multiple times in a very small time scale. So I don't mind going back to, shall we say, Leek Street underneath Waterloo Station, like once a year, but I wouldn't use it more than once a year. Maybe twice, but no more than that. But one is the bare minimum. So once I've used that, I burnt it for the year and got to wait 12 months before I go, shall I use that venue again? that type of thing.
I love League Street though. It's such
Oh, so good. But I'll do I tell you? Okay, I'll tell you this story. So,
Should
if
you?
you're eating, I feel I warn you now. You're listening to this podcast. Pause now. Once your stomach's settled, then we'll go. So, Leek Street is obviously a tunnel. Lots of people walk there, open to the public. There's lots of grime and dirt around. So I was shooting with someone, and we after the shoot, I said, "Oh, do you want to get something to eat?" She goes, "All right, let's do it." So we go like I think Oaxaca or something like that. And this is not Oaxaca's fault. So don't link these two things as Oaxaca. This is definitely my fault. Now, those who know me know how I shoot photos. I am not always vertically standing up. I'm sometimes horizontally laying and crouching and touching things and things like that. I might have forgotten to wash my hands when we're eating finger food. Approximately 6 hours after that, my stomach decided to
Ooh, yikes.
expel out from the top. And I was still living with my sister at the time, her husband and my nephew. I think I gave everyone like the norovirus or some shit like that. So, yeah. So if you ever shoot at Leek Street, wash your fucking hands afterwards. I will say that straight away. So every time I finish with Leek Street, I'm getting like the Purell gel or whatever, or find the nearest toilet and washing it. Yeah, or making sure that I don't put my hands near my face. So yeah. Bet you're glad you're on this podcast, guys.
I mean,
Just to say,
League Street is an under rail tunnel in London. What were you expecting?
yeah, but it's full of graffiti and things. But
I
because
know,
it's got,
it's so cool, but
it's so cool. But because it's foot traffic all day, every day, and people are just bringing in crap in from the outside, and it is open to the elements as well. There's nothing you can do about it. But look, lesson learned. I will never do it again. So cool. What's I going to say next? Yeah, I think that's it really. Oh yeah, that's it. I shot with Purple Muffins. We went to the east of London and things like. And actually, like this could be one of my. Am I wrong? Do you know what? I'm going to write that down. Okay, I'm just writing this down. Okay, cool. Right, sorry. I know there's like a little pause in the podcast. That's me writing that. That's my brain thinking quickly. So the Am I Wrong feature. So this may sound like of Am I the Arsehole? It is not. It's not. Basically, we're going to say statements outside. Out. Depends if we're outside or inside. I don't know. We're going to say statements, and we're just going to listen. We're going to not judge. We're talking about like small, minor to middly controversial stuff. We're not talking about the major stuff. We're not going to be saying, like, should 9-year-old kids be watching certain adult cartoon, things like that, or
God, the amount
like,
of like
I
child
know.
cosplayers made me
Yeah.
cringe so hard.
Oh, wait on if that was a real example, or painting your face a certain color, things like that. Anyway, we're not going down that road, okay? Those are the major controversial stuff. We know that is that, okay? We're just talking about the small middle things, all right? I've done 2 versions of this. You know, I thought I'd bring it. But the last one I did was more or less a year ago, so I felt like I should bring it back for this time around. So that my guests know where to aim, I will go first, and they could mid edit their choices on the go. So I will go first. So, am I wrong that people who message photographers, or maybe the other way around, so either the cosplayers contacting photographers or photographers messaging cosplayers, if they start using the language of, "Oh, I really love your work. I think it's great. I would love to work with you," is it wrong that I check their profile just to see if they follow me or not? Now, I will bring a bigger story to this. So I actually have wrote this thing onto my personal Facebook, and just to see people get engagement of it, and it's quite interesting how they were defending that. No, it's absolutely fine that they're not following it. I'm going, really? Because in my mind, it's akin to like saying, I support a football team, but you know nothing about the history, you know nothing about the team or who's playing. You don't own any their like merchandise or things like that. You don't even know where they play or who their next fixtures are, things like that. And but you say, oh, but I love that team. Like, but clearly you don't. That's how I see it, and I just feel like if someone really liked my work, especially as a photographer, because I'm a photographer that has a particular style I would like to think, I like to say. But for me, for someone to say, oh, I like your work, and I don't see that evidence, I question it because then my mind wanders. My mind wanders to think, hang on, if you don't follow me and I'm questioning if you really like my work on it, why did you just message me like that? Are you actually just copying the message I'm pasting out to people? Boom, boom, boom. And just seeing what's, you're throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks, and then bam, off you go. And like, that's how I see it. I will say what my friends have said. They said, no, it's fine. It could be that, they forgot or didn't know they weren't following you, which is a legitimate thing. I find that's fine. Maybe just they're a bit nervous, maybe, or they just don't feel that liking someone's work is a proof of a commitment, if that makes sense. You can still look at someone's work and not have to follow their work and still like it, which again I agree with, but I don't know. I think that type of language, in my eyes, it signals something. It's like the signal of intent, but I don't feel that signal of intent in the things afterwards, if that makes sense. Am I being too, what's the word, possessive about being maybe liked?
I think if it's someone that I've never seen sort of any interaction from, I'd be a little bit like, do you know? I do also know that I'm the kind of person that I will forget to follow people fairly regularly. I've been friends with some people for years and just clean forgotten because they come up in my suggested so much. But it's particularly something with TikTok where someone will come up on my For You page so much that I make the assumption I'm following you. If I'm starting to build up a relationship with a photographer because we're like planning a shoot and then I still don't follow you, then I'm a bit like, that's maybe a little bit rude because it's very much a collaborative process. And with that comes mutual support. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to turn around and be like, oh, I really appreciate that you like my work. What is it specifically that you like about it? Noticed that you haven't followed me, so I'm really curious where you found it. And then if someone still turns around and like, yes, let's shoot together, but it's better for the rest doesn't have any input in it. That's then we know why we're all here.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you a bit of context. So the most recent one that's happened was, usually it's just the first message they sent. It's not been a continual conversation we've had.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually the first message, and then that's it. I don't think I've ever interacted with this person before. I don't know if they follow someone else through to get to me, if that makes sense. So maybe, like, say we've shot together. This person is you're friends with this person, or you both have mutual fellowship. See
Yeah.
that, oh, I like this person's work. Who's the photographer? Come to me, and then send the message. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've got no understanding how they found my page. And look,
Does it hurt to ask though? Like I do this fairly regularly.
I don't know. I find it awkward to ask that type of question because I feel that
Yeah, but Eddie, you're just a bit awkward.
that is very true. Very true. we have established that, but it's like, what will I gain if I ask this question? Nothing. There's no. All I will get is just a follow, which I don't know if that's the end goal I want, because I've always said, look, I've got about. Let me check now. On Instagram, what am I on Instagram? I am currently on. Oh no, wrong page. That's my other brand. I am. Go on. 6,063 followers.
God.
I like to believe those 6,063 people on Instagram actually genuinely like my work and follow me for me. Okay? I don't want to go down the road of, and I'm not saying other people do this, I don't want people to feel like that I'm begging for their follow. If you don't want to follow my work, it's absolutely fine. I have no issue with that. But I think my brain links, if I like someone's work, I follow you. I think it's because I do it. If I like someone's work and I like to work with them, I follow them first. And then when I feel like I've got the courage to ask them, by the way, would you like to work with me? Hopefully they might think, oh, I'll check your page. If they see they follow back, I'll go, oh, okay, cool. All right then. That type of thing.
Mm.
I just find, that's the thing. And as people know, I've got two photography brands. And I think in the cosplay world, I'm not suggesting it's not full of like weirdos and creeps like that. And you know what I mean by weirdos and creeps. But I think the other branding I have, I've just got a message that though it wasn't creepy, it had an air of creepiness that I just felt, oh, I feel dirty reading this. So that's what I'm saying. It's the way I feel like it's presented to someone, to people. That's all.
I mean, it's one of those things, but we're particularly in the cosplay world because it's the whole like cosplay making, cosplay shoot is such a symbiotic relationship. I think it's an odd thing to kind of check how someone found you. I do it quite often because I probably, as like a female cosplayer, get a lot more creeps, and I kind of have to filter through how people find me to make sure I'm stay safe. I don't think it's weird to ask someone, hey, I appreciate the comment. How did you find me? I noticed that you don't follow me. Out of curiosity, that's perfectly fine.
Well, okay then.
Like,
That's interesting. No,
I will also see it after every event. Certain people will follow me for certain things. So if I've done like a big panel on foam, I will get this influx of followers that are cos makers that are interested in talking about making, and that's why they're initiating the conversation. If I've done an expo of all these different props that we've made, I'll get an influx of people that are just after pretty pictures, and I have a completely different kind of conversation with them. So I absolutely think you can ask someone why where did you come from? Where did you
that's fine. I mean, I know Chapman has been quiet, so I'll bring him in a second. But have you then asked, in whatever situation, for you to ask this question of, so how did you find me? Why are you following me? Have you ever actually asked someone that?
Fairly regularly.
Oh, fair enough then.
Because, I mean, sometimes cosplay and business bleed together for me because we get invited to events. On occasion, we get paid to cosplay. So the feedback of where my followers comes from can help me judge which events I go to next year and which events are worth investing in. So if I get a whole influx of followers after doing an expo with, let's say, someone like MCM Comic Con versus like this kind of like lackluster engagement after a different kind of event, I know that next year, if I have to choose between the two, I know which event I do. There's also one or two events that I've been to historically that landed me so many creeps that I won't go anymore.
Totally understand. Okay, cool. All right. Chapman, as a photographer, so we've got Shadow Bright talking from a cosplayer's point of view. You as a photographer, do you get what I'm coming from, or are you similar to how Shadow Bright is thinking?
Oh, I completely get where you're coming from, but then again, you have to remember my way of photography is different because I'm not known just as my brand. I'm also the League of Legends guy or the Overwatch guy, and I'm known more by my name than I am from my page, to be honest. Like, I get so many people sending friend requests because when I post in the groups, I don't post as my page, I post as the admin. So I do sometimes ask when people message me out of the blue, hey, I love your photos. Can I work with you at XYZ event? And I do ask like, oh, yeah, that's sure. But also out of curious, how did you find out my page? or how do you find out about who I am? But to me, it's like just data gathering. Like it'll give me good insight. Like, oh, okay, apparently people follow me on TikTok, which I don't really use, but they know to communicate to me through Instagram because it's connected.
Fascinating. Was there anything more you want to add, actually? Because me and Shadow have been talking quite extensively. I didn't know if there was something we said that you wanted to butt in with.
No, not really, because you guys actually answered what I would normally say.
Yeah, I think and again, I know this is a personal thing. I will find it hard to actually, in a sense, call them out by saying, "Oh, so how did you find my band?" I will find it hard to do, even now, hearing you guys talking about it and things like that.
To be honest, like if I'm messaging someone out of the blue, I probably spend like a week working up to that. If they acknowledge my interest and kind of genuinely kind of start up this conversation and they are interested in kind of my way of finding them, I just perceive that as someone genuinely wanting to have a conversation with me.
No, I get that. I mean, like I said, so I got two branding. The other one, those okay, we're over 200 episodes in now. If you don't know what my other branding is by now, I will say it one more time. So it's basically like fetish, latex models, and all that. And I know that's not for everyone's cup of tea. Absolutely fine, not a problem. I can imagine in that world, you have to be very, very careful who you interact with. And literally, my opening gambits of being just very open and just very upfront, saying, I'm a photographer, but you don't know who I am. I'd like to work with you. Look at my work. If you don't want to, don't feel free not to ignore me, to move on. But if you're interested, let me know. And I just leave it at that. And I do click the follow button so that they know that I'm interested in their work. I'm not just because I can, like I said, I've always said this. I get every so often messages where they think I'm the model. And if I get that every so often, sorry, this has moved into a different lane, but in a sense, in my head, it's the same thing. It's a parallel lane. If I get like 1%, I'll probably get 1% of what you as a female gender get on a not on a daily basis, not even a
it's a daily basis.
Yeah, but I mean like an hourly basis of just odd and creepy messages. And we're just talking about in the cosplay world. Can you imagine in the fetish world what messages they get, what pictures they get? And I just think, I think I'm trying to like set a standard for myself by saying, how would I like to be approached? And that's part of it. It's like just checking their profile, looking at the work they have, and then, oh, I see that you're not following me. That's weird. That's how my brain works. So yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, like I said, I have been spoken to about it. I know I'm mostly in the wrong, but it sounds like you two kind of get where I'm coming from, which is nice, which is good. Thank you very much. I'm going to let Shadowbright go next. So hit us with your "Am I wrong?"
Okay. This is a pet peeve of mine, but am I wrong if a photographer asks to shoot with me and then flat refuses to give me any sort of instruction and just says, yeah, just do anything? You're not actually all that interested in shooting with me? Because this gets me every time. Cosplay requires so many skills already, particularly if you're a cosmaker. I'm not a professional model. I have a couple of photographers that I shoot with regularly that I know how they shoot and the kind of content they produce. But if I don't know you as a dog, I can't see what you shoot. I can't see what I look like in your camera. And if you then flat refuse to give me any instruction and just say, do anything, it's not going to come out very good. No, I find it really frustrating.
Chapman, I think she's talking about us. I think it's very.
No, that's you, buddy. That is purely you.
Wow!
I think the three of us have kind of got shot enough that we've kind of gotten past that.
Let
But
me
I'm
just say this.
firmly in the camp of needing more instruction and not less instruction.
Chapman, go.
I think I've gotten to a point where me and Shadowbright are so comfortable shooting with each other that I've been covered in blood during a shoot before.
Sorry about
Real
that.
blood or fake blood?
Fake blood,
Ask her.
but he was covered in it. It was. We were flinging it off a sword. Okay, it looks cool.
That's fine. Not a problem. Not a problem. I do. Sorry, if I could. No, it's you, Chapman. I've spoken a lot. You, Chapman. You keep going.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I feel what you said is completely valid. Like, if you're wanting to work with someone, you need to put in that effort. It's not just, hey, can I shoot with you? And then that's the end of the deal. When you work with someone, it's from the moment you initiate that contact and discuss what you want to shoot to the end result. You will have to keep communicating. It's not just, oh, you're a good cosplayer, you know what to do. That doesn't work out. That's not how it should be. So I think you are right in saying that if you're working with someone, they need to give input or instructions to help, especially when they're new, someone you've not worked with.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that.
No, I will give a caveat though. I will be sorry to be devil's advocate for this. I think the people you may be talking about are the photographers who've literally have zero to little experience with actually talking to models, and also they don't take feedback about, oh, how can I improve my photography, which doesn't when that advice comes out, not always about the camera itself or the setting itself. I think someone does need to tell someone communication is key. I remember when I first started photography, that one of the first advice I got from a fellow photographer, I'm going to name check her. It's Anna. I think Anna S1100 on Twitter somewhere. She used to help me out with Finn Cosplay in the past and all that shit. And but yes, and she's doing other things now. But when she had the camera, when she was taking a lot of photos, one of the first advice she gave me when I was starting out was, I can't see on the camera that you can see. So don't assume what you can see on the camera that they can see. You have to tell me what needs to happen. Move the arm, move the head, tilt this way, tilt that way, lean forward, lean back, step forward, step back. Those type of instructions, you need to bark at them, so they because and as soon as she said that advice to me, and I went, holy shit, why is that so obvious? And yet that was not known to me from the get go.
Definitely.
Exactly, and it just it as soon as I got given advice, yes, it's very hard to bark out orders, but once you build it up and start doing it, you'll get used to it. And like you said, you appreciate as a cosplayer that someone, a photographer, is shouting orders like, move your front left foot. Now step back and cross over. Things like that. Look to the sky. Point to the sky. Someone like that, and say, "Oh, that lamppost over. Look that way," or turn your head. Things like that.
But you have to remember that by the time we get to a convention, I've invested like 3 months of my life and a couple £100 into looking that good.
Yes.
I want that to be represented in the pictures. And if that means someone kind of like pushing me in the right space, I'm okay with that.
Hey, yeah. Well, hey, I was just going to say, I think this whole process is a 50-50 partnership. You have done your half by one creating the pose and not the pose, sorry, the cosplay. You have one or two poses in your head, but we as photographers have to backfill the other half by one taking the photos, but also providing you the platform to make your costume, your the embodiment of the character show in the photo. And if we can't do that as a photographers, we're in the wrong business. And I'm not saying it's an easy task to do. Not everyone gets that. Other people have different ways to do that styling. But yeah, it's not easy. But yeah, Chapman, jump in for a little bit because I feel like I keep talking and no one else is.
Well, it's a two-way street. Like you said, it's plain and simple. Like if you don't communicate, I think it's just rude and disrespectful, especially if the end product you don't if the cosplayer doesn't know what the end product is, especially because like you said, they don't know what's on the end of the camera, and especially with how much backlog everyone keeps gloating about, and I'm going to use the word gloat. It's
Thank
like
you.
someone wears it with pride. Um, you don't know when you're going to see the photos. So that what say 3 months of effort you put into, you'd have to then extend it with another 3 months wait for a single photo. I don't think it's fair.
No,
And then you
it can
don't
be
even
much
know if
longer
the
than 3 months.
I'm just giving an average. I mean, like,
That's an
I mean, like,
average? Oh, wow. That's a minimum.
my photos come out the next day. Okay,
Look, man, we all have different timelines, all right? That's all I'm
I
saying.
know, I
Don't
know.
call me out. Don't call me
necessarily-
out.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily mind the long backlogs because it means I get content of costumes that don't even exist anymore.
Mm,
But it's much easier to wait for a photo that I know is going to be good than it
Yeah.
is to wait for a photo that might be good, might be shit.
Well, the question is, will the photo even come out?
Mm,
Because you don't know that. Only the
yeah,
photographer does. And if there's no communication, you're just wasting your time when you could have gone and shot with someone else who you would have known who would get
yeah,
your photos back, or you would have seen the results of.
mm. But we're now moving into territory of like backlog rather than
yeah.
posing and all that, and which I totally get. But again, I also caveat one more extra thing, and this is always a bee in my bonnet about, which this is not obviously my am I wrong, but I just want to add just a little bit. Like I said about photography for us is a two-way process, and I did mention this in the cosplayers half, and it is important. Cosplayers need to know your poses. Please know your poses. We could try to help you out, but like I said, you have to have some idea what works with the character or not. You know, you're going to bump into photographers. Oh, can I quickly take your photos? You need to be in that pose more or less instantaneously. If you stand there going, I don't know what to do, everyone feels awkward because like the photographer's going, oh, I don't know your character either. You might have to like spend a couple of moments just chatting about it. Like then both of you are wasting each other's time because you could both be going somewhere else by the time the photo should have been taken, type of thing. I'm just saying that now. I'm gonna be shut down for this, aren't I? Is this what gets me cancelled?
No, I personally love a photographer that comes to me with like, hey, I have this idea. Do you want to participate in it? And I will do the same thing the other way. Like I wore Angel Dust to MCM for the first time, and Angel Dust is a very specific kind of character that produces a specific kind of content. And I knew that I needed to go into this con kind of prepared with a list of photographers that I was comfortable with because I'm wearing full body like vinyl. So I went to a couple of photographers that I know and trust. I'm like, hey, I have this idea. Can we try it? And there was a couple of ideas that just didn't work. And at one point, Simon was shooting me, and he's just like, no, it doesn't work. We'll do something else. And literally started moving my lens. And we came out with pictures that were amazing. So yeah, it's a communication thing, but yeah, particularly if I don't know you, I need a little bit of help.
No, yeah, absolutely. I just to close off a little bit. I don't think you're wrong that the photographer should know, you know, and should definitely like. I've always had this. It's about show the back of the camera.
Yeah.
If you can't give poses, at least show the back of the camera so that the cosplayer can go, "Oh, I could do better." So,
I prefix with just learn the 8 basic poses. That's it. That will cover I'd say 75% of cosplays.
If all else fails, the hot dog will always work.
yes. By the way, just to say, when you said the 8 basic poses, I'm going, shit, I don't know what the 8 basic poses are.
Oh my god, Eddie, get
So-
your shit together.
Come on, Eddie.
I've got my post sheet, all right? I've got my post sheets, all right? So leave me alone.
Okay, just the basic premise is walking towards camera,
Done that.
look at camera and do like a hugging,
Mm-hmm.
tucking your hair behind your ears,
Yep.
over the shoulder looking back at camera,
Yep.
leaning against a wall, sitting against a railing or ledge,
Yep.
and then like side view, standing at kind of like a strength pose with hands on hip. Simple stuff like that.
Yeah, generally about 3 of those I don't do. So, yep, that's it.
But it works. It doesn't matter if you don't do it. It's like it's
I
No,
think
I
it's
know.
basic
starting
pose
point.
anyone could do.
No, absolutely. Which is no, but these are good tips. That's a good tip. Cool. Chapman, you've just finished talking, but I want you to carry on talking. So, what is your "Am I wrong"?
Okay, I'm going to be very controversial with this one. Am I wrong that being a good editor doesn't mean you're a good photographer, and vice versa? So this is the thing I have. I am a minimal edit photographer. I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I love your photos. You're really good." But then they go and ask me, "Can you do these major edits like XYZ, who's an amazing editor?" The problem is, so many people now expect photographers at cons to be good at both.
Mm.
And this isn't always true. Like some people play to their strengths. Like some people aren't good at photos, but they save it by being really good at editing. Or vice versa. Someone's really bad at editing, like me, but I'm really good at taking a photo. Well, I like to think I'm good at taking photos.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
But yeah, so that's. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I'll let Shadow go first.
No, I don't think you're wrong in thinking that. I have a certain set of photographers that I know I like. We work well together. That I always kind of lean towards, and they definitely fall a little in camp A and a little in camp B. And I will take different characters to different photographers. So something like Angel Dust lends itself to really quite heavy editing. So I tend to lead toward a photographer that is heavy on the editing. Whether something like Vex from Critical Role is a lot more of a natural character, I go towards a photographer that shoots that way. The only thing I would ask there is I also have some friends that are amazing editors and not photographers at all, and then I would be like bringing a third person into the collab of like someone has taken a great picture, we want to edit some cool shit into it. As long as the three of us work together, would you be opposed to having someone else edit your photo? As long with the caveat that it's discussed and collaborated on.
Yeah, that's to me is fine. Like, but it's that the people now assume that because you're good at one thing, you're good at both. This is the problem I am seeing quite often, and I do get asked a lot. Like at a con, I forgot which one, but last year at a con, I was asked, "Hey, can you do these like amazing edits?" And I can't. I'm a photographer that does really good photos on location, but not editing.
It's a bit difficult because if you asked me that question 10 years ago, I've been right with you. I would said it's not necessarily the photographer's job to become the editor. And, for a long time I tried to, through laziness, and I will say that it's generally laziness. I tried to avoid as much editing as possible because I want to keep everything in camera, and I just couldn't be bothered to edit this and edit that. But over the years, I've learned some editing techniques, which I think has enhanced my photography, my style, and things like that. And are we talking about just any sort of level of editing, or we're talking about that high end, shall we say?
I'm talking like that super high end where like someone
Yeah,
spends hundreds of hours
yeah.
on editing it and making like, oh, you took a photo on the grey background of MCM. Look at face.
The grey backgrounds are a good starting canvas, though. If you are into the really heavy edits, it is the flattest background at the con.
Okay, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't mind if you do that, but every fucking photo I've seen is not taking the grey background out, so I can still see the grey fucking wall. So you're not using it like, oh, god damn it. Carry on.
Breathe.
But yeah, like no, so like my issue is like seeing people take a photo like in the trees at MCM. Everyone knows the trees, but then editing it to the point that, oh, it's actually like a castle in Germany rather than the trees.
Mm.
So that kind of expectation now falls on almost every photographer, because one or two photographers are really good at editing.
Mm.
But then also vice versa. There are some photographer or editors who are really great at editing, but the original photo is bad, and you can
Yeah.
still see that from the way it's cropped or the way certain cosplayers are posed.
No, I get what you're saying. It's they rely either too much of getting everything in camera so that they don't have to do too much editing, but it could be they could be standing there waiting to create this perfect photo, wasting the model's time, but vice versa, that they rely too much on the post editing to create a better image where whatever the starting image was ends up nothing like how it ends up, but still looks stunning. Is that that's what you're trying to get?
Yeah, yeah.
Thing is, I don't think you're wrong, but at the same token, you kind of are wrong because that's just people's. That's how people want to take their work. I understand where you're saying,
No,
"Am I
sorry.
wrong?" Oh, wait. I understand where you're wrong is that cosplay is expecting that service that one the editor does that they think all photographers should become editors.
Yes.
I completely agree with you that you shouldn't put that onus, that pressure onto all. I think what makes it even worse is that ChatGPT, generative AI, that is kicking up more gears now. The more that AI is allowed to, and I said it. I've talked about it in the last podcast. It's only going to ramp up, and the more that it like spreads out, and we don't kind of keep things in check, the expectation of what it can do, because it is running wild at the moment, and it's producing some great effects and work. Some people who see this and go, "Oh, if it's that easy, then the photographer can use that and put it into their work so easily." That's what people are going to start thinking soon. Bet you.
Isn't it just another case of like communicate, in the sense that I'm not that style of photographer? If that's the style of picture that you're after, don't come to me.
Oh no, I totally agree with you. You are one. Yeah, no. Again, if Charlotte Warwick was here, she would give you this advice. If you look at someone's work, you got to accept that's the work you're getting. You
Yeah.
can't ask for more for what they're offering. If you are, you're in the wrong because you've seen their work and you still expect more when they can't do more. You can ask, but if they say no, that's it. End of story.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds heartless and callous, and maybe if a cosplayer, because this has happened to me, I almost said no to a few things, but I thought, "Do you know what, I'll give it a go."
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't suggest nor encourage photographers, if they are been asked to do something, to say no straight away. Maybe give it a try, see if it works. If it doesn't work for you, then you can say no. That's all I would say from my experience. Is that fair to say, Chapman?
Yeah, that's fair to say. This is just more reflecting on cases where I've had people come up to me I've not met before that just come at a con and say, "Hey, can you do photos?" And then I agree, and then afterwards, seeing the photos back, they go, "Oh, that's great, but can you change the background to this and add that, and just basically edit to high hell?"
Mm,
Mm.
absolutely, yeah.
I think at
And
that point you're like totally entitled to just be like, no, and just move on.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the fact I've also had them compare me to someone else.
Oh,
Do you know
that's
what I'll say it?
icky.
I'll say it like,
We that we shouldn't be doing that.
yeah,
That's
no,
where
I was
people
going to
are
say
wrong.
let's not mention names, but yeah,
no,
I
no, I won't mention the cosplayer, but I've had
mm,
someone go, "Oh, but can you edit like Jamie Flack?"
Oh, but
yeah,
what
and
Jamie does is almost not photography
Which,
anymore.
yeah, which I have explained. I'm a different style of photographer, but they
mm,
don't understand it. And their comment was, "But you're a photographer. You should be good at editing," which is what brought this.
yeah, but
No.
it's like
Yeah,
saying
that's more of a manners and etiquette question,
yeah,
in the sense that we shouldn't be comparing cosplayers to each other because everyone has a different body and
yeah,
everyone has a different way of making
yeah.
stuff. The
Yeah.
same counts for photographers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask a videographer to take a picture and expect it to be the same quality.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah, it just seals bit. But my example I was going to say is asking a Italian chef to start cooking Chinese food. It's not going to be.
Oh, that would be interesting, actually. Can we
It
do
would be interesting, yes. Oh, I feel like a new TV show coming along. Anyway,
that?
yes, no, I, you know, in my opinion, we haven't actually asked for opinions if we're right or wrong. I think we're getting the vibe though. But
But this is the thing, like, I think you're totally entitled to say no. We have to all remember that. And we very often remind cosplayers that they're allowed to say no, and I think sometimes they do forget that photographers are entitled to the same rights.
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. So yeah. Okay, if that is all said for Chapman's one, I would like to throw one more in, and then we might do some more in the podcast extra if we've got time. Okay, so I'm changing the one I've got on. This is the one I wrote down. So, am I wrong that I protect a location that I've seen either on the internet or somewhere on my travels and never mention it to someone until I've got there first and do it myself? And once I've shot there, then I will tell where things are. But until then, I keep things. Is it wrong that I keep it? I know it doesn't sound like I'm gatekeeping here, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Am I gatekeeping a location for my own benefit for no reason?
Oh, that's a difficult one, actually. Because if I apply this in a cosplay context, we've all developed techniques and stuff, and particular things I do with foam, and I always get asked about them. And I make a point out of not gatekeeping that information, um, simply because I want this hobby to be accessible to as many people as possible because I have such a passion for it. That doesn't mean that I don't get the kind of like luxury of having figured out that technique and being able to kind of apply that in before anyone else. So I think as long as it's kind of limited to I want to shoot there once first, I don't think you're necessarily gatekeeping. You're just finding a location and trying it out.
Mm.
I think if it is a particularly good location that is accessible to the public and safe and all those things,
Mm.
and you're actively going to be keeping it a secret, I'd be a little bit like, but let's all remember that, like, as a community, we're supposed to be working together and collaborating on stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, I agree with you. And I do that once I've shot at this location that I've had in my mind for a long, long time, then I'll talk about it. It's so, for example, I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that I shot with Purple Muffins and I was shooting east of London. Didn't say exactly where though, did I? And
Yeah.
it's just it's a bit of a habit where I just don't give the exact location. I've now shot there, I've taken the photos there, so I can now say I shot at Cutty Sark. The tunnel between Cutty Sark and where's it called? Something Island Gardener. Yeah, let's see if I can find it on the map. On the map. Where's the map? There's the map. Where are you? Cutty Sark. Island Garden. Oh, it is called Island Garden. So there's a tunnel that goes underneath the River Thames, and if you Google it, it's a nice tunnel, and one part of it's got this really nice metal construction work, and I think it actually came from World.2. I remember reading the plaque and things like that. But I used to live in East London, and I always walk past it and walk through it, and going, this would look really good for a photo shoot. And I can't remember if I've actually shot there for a shoot previously. So this might be the first time no, I lie. I have shot down there before. I've shot down there before for a cosplay shoot, but I haven't used it for a while. And part of me is going, oh, do I want to tell people about it? I'm not saying it is open to the public. Anyone can find this place. So it's not like that. But I haven't seen many like cosplay photographers use this the way I'm using it and things like that. So Yeah, it's once these photos are edited and I put it out there, if someone asks, "Oh my god, that's a great location. Where'd you shoot this?" I will then say, "Oh, it's Cutty Sark
Are you
Tunnel."
really gatekeeping then? Like,
So
are you really going to be recommending something that you're not sure is works slash is safe and
if yeah,
can
if
judge?
yeah, no, I see what you're saying. No, obviously, I think I would do the caveat of saying, look, when we did it, we got lucky. No one got hurt. Just got to be very careful. Um, thing is, though, like I said, you could probably reverse image the photo. You can probably use AI ChatGPT to like find this location. Like my parents sent me a photo and they said, "Oh, guess where we are?" And I just did a screenshot, stuck it through
Mhm.
like Google's AI, and it said, "Oh, they're in York." So you could easily find these places. It's just like you said, images don't tell you was this a safe location. Like
Yeah.
we were very aware because it's a tunnel. There's going to be people there. There's going to be people going to stare. There's going to be people that
Yeah.
could kick off. We were lucky that day. Doesn't mean you're going to be lucky, and things like that.
Mhm.
I always believe when you're in public space, you've got to be very um, not, you got to forgive. You got to give forgiveness. No, sorry, you got to accept the forgiveness from the public because we're blocking their path. This is a
Mhm.
route, not a photo shoot area. So I'm
Yeah.
always apologising to the public. I'm so sorry, but no, we're in your way, not the other way around. I'm always saying it that way around. So they understand that they're not the problem, we're the problem, type of thing.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
always very careful with particularly recommending shoot locations,
mm,
and then particularly to younger cosplayers, because quite often really cool, like sort of industrial looking shoot locations. We used to shoot in this spot in Brixton that was decidedly unsafe. um, I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I would tell people where it was, and then be like, "You need to like, I don't know, bring your dad or something. Don't go on your own."
absolutely.
Um, and if it was someone that was like literally a child, I'd be like, "No, no, I will not tell you where this is. This is not gatekeeping.
Mm.
That's
No,
just safety."
no, that's fair enough. Yeah. Chapman's been very silent. Chapman, can I actually mention why you're silent?
Go for it.
Okay. So Chapman's been silent, and I know why he's been silent because he's having his dinner. I don't know if he's finished or not, but I just think I'm
I have
assuming he's still.
finished.
Oh, you have finished. Okay.
I have finished. Yeah, no, but my point of view is you're not in the wrong. You're absolutely in the right to not tell
Oh.
anyone. The only prefix to that is the intent that you're
Oh.
telling. So, for example, if you have this very good shoot location and someone has saying looking for a good location which matches your criteria and you're not telling them out of pure jealousy that you don't want them to get the
Mm,
better photo or shoot it first, I would say yeah, that's not great.
mm,
But if it's like the fact that it's something you've had in your mind, but you've never shot there before, and no one asked specific for somewhere like that. So say I don't go specific. Say I want some to shoot somewhere in East London, which is like, that's good for Catwoman.
mm.
And if you knew that location, but you don't tell me, then yeah, that's I would say maybe you're in the wrong. Are you a friend for? Are you even my friend if you're not going to help me?
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah.
But if I'm not very specific saying that, so I just want a cool location. You don't have to say it.
Mm.
That that's it. It's just the intent behind it.
Yeah. No, it's
But
fine.
then if you just want to keep that location and be known as the guy that shoots that, then no, you're wrong.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Okay, cool. All right. It's quite interesting because, like I said, there's 2 or 3 places that I've seen. One I've seen other cosplay photographers use it. No, I've seen a cosplay photographer, but didn't use it in a cosplay sense. And I've like looked at the location, where, oh, that'd be quite good for this and that. The other one, I still haven't shot there, and I've been gagging to be there for about 5 years now. And I think this is the year where it might happen because most likely I'm 90% chance that I won't be at MCM London in October. So I might have to set up my own shoot in October time just to get my kicks and thrills of like cosplay photography or something like that. So yeah, watch this space, shall we say? But listen to me, I'm not even saying where this place is, and that's how protective I am of this location. Again, it's open to the public. You could probably work it out if you Google it and whatever. But yeah, it's not like it's a secret. But yeah, let's not go there.
I mean, I feel the same about one location. Do you know? I'll just say it: Wapping Beach. I've shot there already, but it was a location that I've kept up my sleeve for a while for photo shoots.
Yeah.
So if people doesn't know what that is, it's right next to Wapping Station. If you head to end of the road, there's a little steep staircase that goes down to the pebbly beach of the Thames River, and you get a great view of Canary Wharf.
Okay. I'm trying to think where this is. I don't know if I've seen it or not, but yeah. Well,
I think the whole question is intent. If you're keeping a location from someone out of malice because I want this and you can't have it, I have like feelings about that. If you're saying I haven't been here yet, I'm not sure if it's a good place to go, and I want to go there first to check it out, maybe shoot, and then I'll share it with people. I think it's perfectly reasonable.
Okay, that's cool. Oh no, honestly, generally that has calmed my nerves quite a little bit. That it's not. I'm not being in a English head. It's good to hear that I'm not being, for a better lack of term, but being a dick about it. So that's good to know. That's absolutely good to know. Cool. No, that's fine. That's that. Like I said, it's good to know. It's good to know. Anyway, we are literally bang on the hour mark. I hope. Hopefully, that's what your podcast timer says. The episode time. So, on that note, we're going to go to the podcast extra. So, if you want to hear the podcast extra, we might do quick round onto the podcast extra. Otherwise, we might just jibber jabber for a little bit. But yeah, come over to the podcast extra on Patreon. I'll say the links in a minute, but I just want to say thank you to my guests of Shadow Bright and Chapman. Shadow Bright, where can they find you on the social medias if they want to find you and follow you?
I'm mostly on TikTok and Instagram as Shadow Bright Cosplay. I'll occasionally be on Twitter, but that's not really my platform.
I have tagged you on those platforms and get nothing.
I know, I'm too old for Twitter.
Oh, look, I'm too old for this TikTok. I'm too old for Threads. I'm probably too old for I'm too old for social media. I'm happy with Facebook at times, but even I know that's a dead platform. I know, such a dead platform at the moment. Anyway, thank you, Shadow. Not Shadow Heart, Shadow Bright, just to say.
Shadow Bright.
Chapman, where can they find you on the social medias?
You could mainly find me on Instagram as LPC Photography. I occasionally do the tickety talk, or through my website chapmanlee.co.uk.
Tickety talk.
Hey, I'm allowed to say it now.
You're allowed to say it. If people need to find me on the social medias, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, that's where you'll find all my social media links, including the Tickety Talkety, the Instagrammity, the Officially Bookety, the Threadity Threadity, that type of places. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, you'll find daily cosplay photos. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcasts, that's where you'll find previous recorded podcasts with Shadow Bright, with Chapman, with Doesn't Subject, this, that, and the other. And what else? Patreon. That's it. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, you'll hear more of this. Am I wrong with? Because I think my two guests haven't actually done an extra one yet. So we'll probably definitely do those two on the podcast extra. So if you want to hear more of their views about Am I Wrong, come over. But if not, thank you for listening to the podcast, and hopefully we'll see you on the next podcast. But next episode, even the next episode. So, bye, guys.
Bye.
Send Eddie Yorkshires.
No.